So the first image is the Ardabil carpet, image 191, and this was made during the Safavid dynasty in Iran in 1539 to 1540 CE, and it is around 34 feet to 17 feet, so this is massive. And it was made of expensive silks and wools. However, it was mostly made of wool because that held dye in place much better. And these dyes that were used were indigo and pomegranate rind, which was used to create the designs on this rug. It was made using 10 weavers at a time due to the huge size of this carpet, though despite there being 10 workers at a given time, this carpet was made in a year because it had 340 knots per square inch, which is the reason that it took so long, because commercial rugs today only have around 80 to 160 knots. This carpet was made being one of a matching pair for the funerary shrine of Safi al-Din Ardabil, who was a famous and well-liked Sufi mystic, and he trained his followers in Islamic mystic practices, and after his death, his following only grew. Soon after, one of his descendants, Shah Ismail, seized power in united Iran and established Shia Islam as the official religion. And Sufism is essentially Islamic mysticism. And so looking at this more generally, though, the carpets like these served as the overall purpose of these was to decorate the floors of mosques, shrines, and homes. So basically anywhere that prayer occurred. Prayer carpets are used to help unify members and to create a sense of community within the religion. Now, in terms of content, the thing that dominates this carpet's design is the central golden medallion surrounding this medallion is a ring of multicolored detailed ovals, and at both ends of the carpet hang lamps that are meant to mimic the lamps found on the ceilings of the funerary shrines, which would kind of create visual unity within the surroundings of the carpet. There's also a line inscription on the end that details the work of the slave Maqsud Kashan, and he was a court official who was in charge of overseeing the production of carpets, so some historians argue on whether he made this or just oversaw the production. It was also important to note that by referring to himself as a slave, he probably doesn't actually mean slave. What most people believe he was hinting at is presenting himself as a humble servant. Now finally, in terms of context, this is one of the world's oldest existing Islamic carpets. Prayer carpets were highly prized and important in Islamic culture, especially in Iran at the time of the Safavid dynasty. I also found this information on YouTube that I thought was pretty interesting, so I'm going to put it in this video. And it was that its twin carpet ended up being looted from the Ardabil shrine by the invading Russian forces in 1828 to 1829 under General Benkendorf, along with the priceless shrine library of manuscripts taken to St. Petersburg, and they were sold to the buyers. And the remains of the carpet are in Los Angeles County Museum, which I thought was kind of interesting, that one of them was kind of destroyed due to Russian invasion. So the next image is Trade, Gifts for Trading with White People. And it was made in 1992 with oil paint and mixed media being a collage with objects and canvas. It currently hangs in the Chrysler Museum of Art in Norfolk, Virginia. It was from the Confederated Salish and Kootenai American Indian tribes of the Flathead Indian Nation, and this was created to commemorate the quincentenary non-celebration of European occupation of North America. So it focuses specifically on the American Indian social issues of poverty, unemployment, disease, and alcoholism, all of which some way can be traced back to European occupation. And this was made to really emphasize the lack of equality between European and Native Americans in history and in today's world. Smith stated that if trade could speak, it might say, "Why won't you consider trading the land we handed over to you for the silly trinkets that so honor us? Sounds like a bad deal? Well, that's the deal you gave us." And this quote really epitomizes how many Native Americans feel towards colonization. So one of the many reasons that this was so controversial is because the Native life had been commoditized, turning Native American cultural objects into cheap items or logos or even children's toys without true understanding of what the original intention was, which again therefore worked to devalue Native American culture as it once was during colonization as it is maintained to be in the face of popular culture. And so this was divided into 3 pieces, meaning it's a triptych, and it was reminiscent of medieval devotional triptychs. And it's a large mixed media canvas, meaning it has collage elements of newspaper clippings and images of conquest, along with abstract expressionist painting with geometric shapes and prominent brushstrokes, along with drippings of paint. And this multi-layered effect is meant to emphasize the history and the occupation and the complexity of the situation itself. And many items represent how the Native Americans have been represented by Europeans in a false light, which includes emblems of sports teams, toy arrowheads, tomahawks, pages from comics, gum, and tobacco wrappers, etc. All of which, again, cast them in a light that Native Americans really don't want to be looked in, which is one of the main premises of this art piece. And then another thing that's really important to pick up on is that there's a canoe in this, which is representative of the possibility of trade and cultural connections, but in this piece it's stuck and motionless. This really shows, if you get close up into the image, that this artist uses her cultural heritage with traditional art to make new media and to really evoke her emotions. It is also said that the red paint could be representative of American Indian blood and the violent actions that Europeans took to acquire the New World, such as warfare and Smith's that could also be shown through Smith's heritage, which is the artist, and the anger that she went through. She also makes use of white, yellow, and green. She also references the role of trade goods in stories like the acquisition of Manhattan by Dutch colonists in 1626 for 20. And although that story is probably not true, it speaks to the idea that Native Americans were not commonly lured off their land by what was in fact inexpensive trade goods that were given, that they did not have some understanding of private property as Europeans did. And the thing that makes this postmodern is that it's art in a global context, and it expands the idea of art objects along with social critiques. So it was extremely hard for me to find a connection between these 2 pieces, but I did find one, and to me it's very, very simple, so I don't know if it's the only one because I did have trouble finding it, but it was that both are kind of mixed media pieces. While the carpet uses silk and wool, and the Gifts for Trading with White People uses collage pieces such as a newspaper, but also abstract pieces, and then also actual objects as well.